Hello, this is Kevin with Bangert Inc. In today's session, we're going to talk about the 19.11 release that just came out a couple weeks ago, and particularly looking into Estimate Catalog. If I take a look at File, Open Estimate, it doesn't appear that this has changed too much. So, there's still a lot of people that would like to be able to right-click and collapse all and some of those type of things, or move estimates around from this window. And keep in mind that Open Estimate's just really a box for opening those estimates. So if you really want to do any rechanging your branches and things of that nature, you're going to want to go down to Manage Estimates. And Manage Estimates has had a nice little change on this update. If I were to highlight all estimates, this will actually pull all the estimates up in a grid. So in the past, we used to have to right click and create grid and things of that nature, where now it just, as soon as you click there, shows it right off the bat. Now, one of the things that's kind of interesting about this, though, is if I click on even subfolders, it will actually filter that grid based on the folder that I'm looking at. So that's pretty neat. Now, one thing that I've seen here that you got to be a little bit careful with here is look at these estimates that I've got here. So right now I've got a lot of different estimates kind of broke off into different business sectors. So if I highlight a heading, bang, there's all my grocery stores. But one thing that I noticed here that kind of surprised me that I didn't get what I expected was if I click on the heading here, I don't get anything. So one thing to just kind of be careful with here when you're kind of playing around with it is if you've got more than one branch below it, it does not automatically put it into this list and so forth. So, this one here basically will show all of them no matter how deep it looks like the branches are from what I can tell. But as far as once you start going down and looking at some of the detail, they only show you what's within that one branch directly as you're going through. But very powerful way of, looking at that list and finding content and so forth that way. So if I come back and I'm looking at, even like all my estimates, I can come up here and start putting in parts, of a search that doesn't really matter what it's in relationship to. So maybe I've got some project that I've done that I know that the project had like a building number associated with it. So if I said like 51, that'll go through and just basically filter anything that has 51 in any of the different content that it could find out there. Or maybe if I said, in this case here, it found WI in Wichita, but it also found WI in Buffalo Wild Wings or Crosswind or Ballwind, a couple things of that nature. So that's pretty cool because that way it's just another way of finding estimates that maybe I just remember part of a value or something of that nature. So it just makes it real handy to come back and find things. You can also modify what columns you're looking at here. So if I go and take a look at my columns, I can basically add and remove things from here. So one new column that they've added, I think created date was out there, but they created a created by. So any of your existing estimates will not have anything in there, but even if someone doesn't put their estimator name in there, basically it will keep track of the username that created that estimate. So if I go back and let's just create a trash estimate here so we can kind of see what that looks like. So I'm going to say new estimate, and I'm just going to say, so now when I come back and take a look at my grid, you'll notice that now it's got basically my username as far as who created that estimate and so forth. So kind of handy there again, that way somebody don't even have to, follow the rules of putting in estimator, but maybe I could still haphazardly tell who created that file initially, some of those type of things if important, but it'd be probably better to do estimator so you can do other reports and content from it. Maybe I've got something where I've got this created by on and I don't want it. So same type of thing. If I go ahead and do a search for it, basically I could turn on and off different values in here. So if I go through here, and I don't remember that I've got my name properly in this database, so I'm going to go ahead and just turn on a handful of them because I don't really remember which one I'm looking for. And I'm going to go up to, let's say this section here. So this is where I was kind of keeping track of my statuses in this field 11, it looks like. So there again, if I come back up and wanted to basically do a search on things that were lost or awarded or something of that nature, I can basically use that as one of my filters. So any of your different WBS codes, contract values or things of that nature if you put them in there. So just kind of a nice facelift for finding things. The other thing that they've changed is pretty powerful, which has been requested, I believe, quite a bit, is if I go ahead and create me a new branch here. So let's say that I've got schools. So in previous versions, if I wanted to move an estimate up to that branch, I would have to highlight that estimate and basically drag and drop it. So one of the things that they've changed here that's really powerful is you can now use your control key, your shift key, things of that nature, and it can actually show multiple estimates highlighted and things like that at one time. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those 3, drop them up to schools, and that way I can move a bunch of estimates at one time. So this has probably been one of the biggest things that when people started renaming estimates, moving estimates around, that especially the way that some estimates migrated, it seems like a lot of people have a bunch of different folders that it's nice to be able to clean up now, so you can grab whole blocks of things and move them around. I'm going to create another branch here. So you could also go through there and highlight a number of them, and I could say copy. So in that case there, instead of moving them for whatever reason, I wanted to make a copy of them. And as I don't know if you noticed in the box or not, but there was also an option to, delete them from highlighting. So it looks like they've kind of gave this a nice little facelift on, being able to see those grids just right off the bat. So that way I could just focus on what the estimates are within that folder very quickly. Moving multiple estimates at one time, copying estimates, deleting estimates. You could actually duplicate an estimate from that window if you wanted to. So just right click and duplicate and so forth. So nice little update that came out for it. So take a look at it, see what you think. Leave me any comments of any content that you'd like to see and so forth going forward. Otherwise, I thank you for your time.